very warm welcome, and it's my great pleasure to declare this graduate celebration open.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it is, of course, a very warm welcome. So I think we've chosen the hottest September on record, I think, to have our celebration. So it's very nice to see you all here, and I hope you've had a chance to enjoy the sunshine and hospitality with us this afternoon. So a warm welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here as part of these celebrations, of course, recognising the success of our class of 2020. So this is not a normal degree celebration, of course, as you'll recognise, and it's not been a normal year either. The pandemic has impacted on all of our lives in ways that we could never have imagined 18 months ago. And you'll all have your own memories of spring, summer 2020, as when the university transitioned to almost entirely online. And it was clearly not the conclusion to your degrees that you had wanted, and it wasn't the conclusion that we had wanted for you either. Yet, I think in the most challenging of circumstances, you showed resilience, ingenuity, tenacity, all the hallmarks, I think, of a good Birmingham graduate, to overcome many of the challenges to complete your degrees. And you should be extremely proud, I think, of what you have achieved. Graduations are defining moments in the university's calendar, and your graduation, of course, is a defining moment in your lives too. So while we celebrated virtually in the summer 2020, we were, of course, committed to inviting you back to Birmingham to celebrate your achievements in person. And we're delighted to be celebrating with you. And whilst this isn't the Great Hall, it is perhaps the Great Marquee. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I hope that you've enjoyed the opportunity to be reunited with each other, to share your success with friends and families, to wear some smart graduation robes, of course, and to recognise and reflect on your achievements too. So in this extraordinary 18 months, the university community has stepped up and played its part in the nation's response to the crisis. Our researchers have developed new tests to detect COVID, new medical interventions for those suffering from it, and we've contributed to the understanding of the disease so that we might better deal with it. And you've also played your part too, supporting vulnerable members of the community in Selly Oak and in your communities further afield. Some of you will have distributed food and medicine to those most in need, volunteered in test centres, helped friends and neighbours, and found new ways to adapt and respond to the enormously challenging circumstances. And the student response to the pandemic that you all began in the summer 2020 has continued. And we are grateful and full of admiration for the ways in which our students continue to support their communities and indeed each other. You came to the University of Birmingham because you wanted to come to a great place of learning. You wanted to test yourself, and you wanted to equip yourself for the next phase of your life. And your experience won't have been what you were expecting, but you are here today having overcome many of those barriers and having achieved your goals nonetheless. So these degree celebrations in the Green Heart are a first for us. However, we have a history of firsts. This was the first campus university, the first university to incorporate a medical school, to allow female students to take medical degrees, and to create a women's hall of residence. And more recently, we were the first university to open a secondary school and the first to establish a Peer 2 testing laboratory for COVID-19. And I think perhaps today might also represent a first for you too. You may be the first in your family to graduate, the first to study in this country, or maybe the first to achieve a postgraduate qualification. And I think, judging by the colour of some of your robes, some of you will be the first to make a particular discovery in some area of doctoral research. You are all among the first to graduate through a global pandemic. The disciplines in which you're graduating have taught you many foundational skills which you will now be applying to work or further study. You are well prepared, I think, for what comes next, and you should feel confident in your ability to face the challenges and opportunities to come. Use these skills Work hard. Take opportunities as they arise. If someone asks, say yes. And remember, I think, to help those around you, whatever your line of work. For most of you, last summer will have marked the end of one kind of relationship with the university and the start of a new one. And you are now a member of a distinguished family, a family with over 300,000 members in more than 170 countries worldwide. Congratulations on joining the alumni of the University of Birmingham. Our alumni engage in an astonishing array of projects and professions, and we look forward to witnessing your own achievements and successes in the years to come. Keep in touch with us, and we promise, of course, to keep in touch with you too. You and those around you have many reasons to be proud today. Many congratulations to you all, and good luck and good fortune in everything to come. Thank you very much. Congratulations to you all. So I now have the great pleasure of handing over to Marvin Clayton, who is a graduate of the class of 2020, like you, and is a graduate of mechanical engineering. So thank you very much, Marvin. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to the class of 2020. We made it. We have contributed to the rich history of this university and are now distinguished graduates. We remain committed, we adapted, and we displayed an attitude for success. Now, nothing is impossible. Our journey has been one of pride, tenacity, and purpose. I am proud to have been taught by the best, studied with the best, and here, celebrating this achievement with only the best. For some of us, the highlight of our time spent was being a member of a distinguished society. For some, it was the friendships that were formed from deliberating ideas in group projects. But we can all relate to that last-minute rush to dot the I's and cross the T's before clicking that submit button, just minutes before the deadline. For some, it would be when they were too tired, when we were too tired from being out the night before partying, and then struggled to keep up in class the following day. But for me, it was having a personal relationship with the lecturers and the welfare team. There was an open door policy that supported every single step of my education. I learned it was okay to fail, and my exposure to challenges helped to build my road to success. Project deadlines were like a loaded train that was traveling full speed ahead on the road to collision, but time waited on no one. Our only escape was to be spearheaded by the delayed approval from the welfare team. But successful people never quit. They adapt and they make things happen. Today, we are here because we never quit. We adapted, and now we are celebrating our success together. I will miss the bond of teamwork that was formed and the opportunities to pay the price of an error with just a lower mark in the grade, where it could be more catastrophic and we paid more serious consequences. Studying at this university at Birmingham has been quite a unique experience, and we shared it. This university has a hold on me. I am a graduate, but I'm still a student here at the same time. I've only just handed in my last piece of coursework for my master's degree. Luckily, that was not a last-minute submission, and I did not have to call on welfare team to save me this time. For most of us, welfare team is our saving grace. As we hope to find employment and share the knowledge and skills and experience and to make a difference in this changing world, there are many challenges, but we must persevere. We must overcome the adversities, and we must make it happen. Do not give up. Sometimes, success is right around the corner, but because the road is dark and the headlights are off, you won't see it until you get there. I have faced many challenges since I've graduated, and I'm still awaiting responses from some of those applications that I did last year. This is added to psychometric tests and pre-recorded video interviews and assessments, so it's not been easy. But with perseverance and with the right drive to success, we will be successful in our endeavors. I hope to use what I've learned at this university to contribute to developing and new technologies that reduce the production of greenhouse gases and climate change. I hope to seek new opportunities to inspire others from poorer family backgrounds to never give up on their dreams and always keep trying. Graduating class of 2020, I wish you the very best endeavors and the very best success for the future. I want to say special thanks to my wife, and on behalf of the graduating class 2020, we want to thank our families, our friends, the academic staff, the welfare staff, and everyone that has supported us on this journey. The heights by great men, reached and kept, were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, they were uptoiling upwards through the night. Graduating class of 2020, congratulations, we made it.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I am honoured to be standing here today in the fancy gown and speaking to you as Guild representative. To introduce myself, I am Aaliyah Sims, this year's Welfare and Community Officer. I studied law, so I have lots of experience reading the terms and conditions that you all skip through. In full admittance, I have not yet graduated, so I look to you for inspiration. As individuals who have looked every summative, every MCT, every 3 a.m. late night submission in the eye and survived. You are living proof that it can be done. I've got some notes for this speech, and in big letters is my first point. Degrees are hard. I'm sure I don't need to elaborate on this point, but I would like to give a moment of silence for everyone who has taken a different journey to the one they first anticipated, feels conflicted about their final outcome, possibly has taken a leave of absence, and those who struggled throughout this process in any way. I would like to say we are all so very proud of you, for your perseverance and your dedication, even when you had little faith in yourselves. I hope standing here right now, in this very warm marquee, shakes off any residual doubt or imposter syndrome. You have made it, and you have climbed through that metaphorical mountain. The second note is, woohoo! You did it. This year and the last have been littered with turbulence and events we never could have anticipated. Yet, amidst it all, you have managed to attain a huge achievement, your degree. I want to take you back to your first year, when you came onto campus brimming with excitement or anticipation, sweating more than me in this gown, with heavy backpacks laden with laptops and every pen W.H. Smith stocked, splashing the loan on textbooks that weren't used until exam week, the £1 dominoes in the freshers' fair, the digging boxes in your accommodation. Perhaps being here on campus was the moment it hit home that you were in the next stage of your life. For others, maybe it was the first seminar when everyone was too shy to speak. I'm sure then the emotions and mixture that you felt was palpably intense, and I'm sure that you feel the same now. Excitement, anticipation, and joy as you finalise the next step of your lives. Until you realise that taxes and inflation only increase from here on up. I wonder if you are still good friends with those you met in those vulnerable first moments at university. If so, good job. Or if, like me, you never saw them again. Perhaps some of them are here. If so, hi, add me on Facebook. It's normal to harbour fear towards the unknown, but even with the uncertainty surrounding the new way of life and jobs being increasingly competitive, I am pleased to say that graduates still earn more on average than their counterparts without a degree. That's very good news if you're like me and you've maxed out your student and postgrad overdraft. I hope you look back at your time here at the University of Birmingham, among your peers, with much fondness. Taking part in Danger Fabs, having a good time at Circo and the Goose, hearing the bong of old Joe as you carry your late-night Dixies home. We will remember you dearly, yes, even you, as our alumni who will continue to be the next generation of successful and competent, innovative individuals, and we cannot wait to see the brilliant things you're sure to accomplish. No pressure. When I was frantically Googling how to write a decent speech, plenty of suggestions came up. This was my first foray into public speaking, so if I made it this far and a single joke has landed, I will leave here smiling. One of the suggestions was to finish on some memorable and entertaining quotes from well-known figures. In the words of our current Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, in 2004, speaking to The Independent, "My chances of being PM are about as good as the chances of finding Elvis on Mars or me being reincarnated as an olive." After 3 years of developing my analytical skills alongside the unpredictable events of COVID, I believe this quote shows that truly anything can happen. The moral of my speech I want to leave you with is this: continue to use the unbridled chaos and random chance that life has presented to you to your advantage. Let it continue to drive you on to your next goal. You've all certainly done that the last few years. In the words of Del Boy, he who dares wins. Thank you, and all my love from the Guild of Students. Aaliyah.
Thanks for those two inspirational speeches. There are many people in this rather warm marquee at the moment. We're celebrating the achievement of our graduates, but we're also welcoming and celebrating your families, your friends, those who've supported you throughout. We've many generations here, including two incredibly smartly dressed young men in the front, I have to say. But to everyone, thanks for all that you've done. And why not give everyone a round of applause for their achievement and their support. Now, as you've been hearing through the three speeches you've heard so far, these are unprecedented times where things we never thought could happen have happened. Things which were inconceivable have become conceived. The world has literally gone through a series of crises. None perhaps more serious than where's the hands of old Joe gone? People have been returning to the university and noticing that old Joe, for those of you who don't know what old Joe is, it is the clock tower. The hands are missing. I have good news for you. The hands are in good hands. They're in Derby, along with the rest of the mechanism of old Joe. And we hope that the mechanism will be reinstalled and the hands will be attached by the end of this month. As you've already heard, Joe is very much a part of the life of this university, and by a kind of cruel irony, Joe stopped chiming more or less as the pandemic took hold. So the clock will restart, the hands will turn, and slowly the world will come back to normal. As Professor Jarvis said, we're one of very few universities who've done anything to celebrate graduate achievements. We're the only ones who are doing anything like this. And when we decided that we would invite back the class of 2020 to these graduate celebrations, we'd no idea how many would return. In fact, over 6,000 of the class of 2020 have chosen to come back to join one of these graduate celebrations. A huge number. In fact, as a result of the large number, we had to put on more ceremonies than we'd initially anticipated, which was a wonderful challenge for us to face. Why have so many chosen to come back? I think there are three reasons why so many have chosen to come back. The first is the opportunity to celebrate again with friends, those friends that you made in your years at Birmingham. When I'm travelling the world and I meet many of those Birmingham alumni that Professor Jarvis spoke of, so often they tell me that many of the most important friendships, the most enduring friendships, the most supportive friendships they made in their time at Birmingham. And what was true of them, I'm sure, is true for everyone here in the marquee today. It's wonderful that you're back. It's wonderful that you can be back amongst friends. Nurture and sustain those friendships. They will matter to you in the future, just as they've mattered to you during your time at Birmingham. The second reason I think so many have returned is because of the affection that you have for this, your university. On days like this, there is no university like this in the country. There is no setting like this in the country. This is one of the UK's great universities, and you yourselves have written your own chapter in the history of our university. And as well as looking back to the history of the university, we've continued to look to the future. Many of you here today celebrating our engineers, and you'll be able to see the wonderful new engineering building that was completed during the pandemic. A great statement of this as a place of engineering excellence, but much more important than that, a place where we will be educating the engineers of the future and actually shaping what engineering will be in the future. So wherever you go in the world, wherever your career takes you, you can have an intense pride, not just in yourself, but in your university, wherever you go. To say you are a graduate of the University of Birmingham will immediately identify you as an alumnus of a great university. And the third reason I think people have come back is to mark this transition from your time as a student at Birmingham into your lives and your careers. And many of you have taken that next step either into your career or into further study. So what does the future hold, and how should you approach your futures? I think there are two things which you should hold in your heart. The first is a determination to be the best of yourself, to be the best you can be. That's what brought you to this university in the first place. Your ambition to test yourself, to stretch yourself, to immerse yourself in a study of an academic discipline, to immerse yourself in many cases in your own research. And that ambition that brought you here has, I think, been nurtured here, it's been refreshed here, it's been deepened during your time here. And that ambition that brought you here will take you on into the next stages of your lives and your careers and will enable you to be the best that you can be. So the aspiration that brought you to the Birmingham is the aspiration you should hold on to, the aspiration which will shape you for the rest of your lives. There's nothing selfish about being the best you can be. But in being the best you can be, share the best you can be with those around you. Contribute to the society of which you are a part. And crucially, given what we've endured through the pandemic, play your part in building a better, a more resilient, a more just, a more equitable, and a happier future for us all. Because whatever your discipline, you have a key part to play in that. Whatever your career, you have a key contribution to make to that. It rests on all of our shoulders, those of us who have lived through these unprecedented times, to commit to rebuilding, commit to building better, and commit to building that better future. But that responsibility rests particularly on you, the graduates, the next generation. This is your generation, this is your world. You have a particular responsibility, but you have a great opportunity to make it in your own image. So as you go out and celebrate, as you go out and open that next chapter in your lives, remember what Birmingham did for you. Remember what you did while you were here and what you contributed to Birmingham. Remember the resilience you have. Remember the skills you've learned. Remember the way in which you have triumphed. And face the future with confidence, face the future with hope, and face the future with expectation. Thank you for everything you've contributed to the university, and please, together, enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. And I now declare this graduate celebration closed.